All right, everyone. Happy New Year and happy January 3rd, because guess what day it is today? Not only is it the third day of January into the 2022, but it's also my 51st birthday. That's right. The big 5-1. I know I made it through the 50s. Now I'm on to the 5-1s and I'm into the 50s. So this is what we're kind of going to be talking about today. But here I have a birthday ask of all of you. I would love it. Actually, I would really appreciate it as a birthday gift to go to the Apple link in the description, and maybe you're already there, and leave a 5-star review, rating, and a review of what you love about the podcast. That's what I would really love for my birthday. And if you screenshot this podcast or any one of the other podcasts and give me a birthday shout out, I will send you a little gift. Yes. It doesn't matter how many of you do this. If you shout me out today only on my birthday, then I will send you a little gift. Yeah. So when I see your shout out, I'm going to reach out to you and ask for your address, and I'm going to send something to you as a thank you. So that is my birthday ask for this episode. Yeah. Anyways, that would be a most amazing gift. It really would. So let's talk about the 2022. How is everybody feeling so far? We're going to talk about tracking progress. And I won't lie, I'll talk to you about myself as a 50-year-old woman. I never honestly thought that I would get to be 50. So it's because, I think I just sort of sat in, I always consider myself to be 25. And I think a lot of us actually have that preferred year in our 20s that we just can't move from. And I'll tell you why I can't. And I don't know why, if it's reason why I can't move from that year, but a lot of things happened to me that year. And it was just kind of thing it was just a really, really pinnacle year, I guess, for me. And I'll tell you why. So when I was 25, I was with said boyfriend, a past ex-boyfriend, in the middle of India. Yeah, that's right. I was traveling. I finished high school. I finished college, and I wasn't due to be hired on for the program that I went to in the college. So I went and I did this specific program, and it was tailored to a government job, provincial government job. And so they were not hiring until the spring, and I knew this. So instead of sitting around and working 3 jobs, I worked 3 jobs for the summer to go away traveling in Asia that fall. So fall of, oh my God, 94, 95, 96. And so I did. I went, I saved up all my money, and you know how cheap it was back then. I had $2,000 plus a plane ticket, and I ended up it was supposed to be gone till Christmas. I didn't come back till March. So, but in that instance, I was with said boyfriend in Bikaner, India, and he decided to leave 2 days. So January 2nd, and travel into the center of India to go to a national park instead of waiting for my birthday or staying with me for my birthday, right? Yeah, that's why said boyfriend is ex-boyfriend. Never. Anyways, so I spent my 25th birthday by myself in the middle of India, as a single white woman. We basically broke up. And we were to meet in 2 weeks' time in Bombay at the specific hostel. So remember, this is 1995. Nobody had phones, no social media, no internet, no nothing. You wrote postcards and you wrote letters and you sent them to P.O. boxes in these countries. So that's how it went, right? So if anybody backpacked back then, that's how it went down. So anyways, I did end up we did meet up in Bombay. Anyways, that whole trip is so fun. Like, there's so many stories from that trip, but that's not what we're talking about. So at that time, that was my 25, and I'm always stuck on that. And when we came back, we actually stayed in Vancouver. I came back and they're like, oh, you're hired, but your job's not starting for another month and a half. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I drove across Canada to tree plant in Prince George, BC. And that's where said boyfriend was. He worked for a tree planting company called Roots Reforestation at that time. And I worked for him. So you see how that kind of went. Anyways, we knew each other from high school. Long story. So yeah. So I went tree planted, drove across Canada, and truly, when the phone call came in, I was sitting in the middle of BC. We had 2-hour boat in, like a bus ride to my car. Like, it was crazy how long I had to. It was like I was 5 hours away from my car. So I got the call in the middle of BC, and I was like, I'm leaving. He's like, are you sure you don't want to stay here? And I'm like, no. I mean, yes, I'm sure I don't want to stay in the middle of BC, living in a tent, and working 12-hour days. Thanks. It filled the time, and we truly split up that moment. And I got a boat ride to the nearest road where they drove me into not Nelson. It was, we were like along the Alaska highway, way the hell up there, to get in a Greyhound bus to go down to Prince George to get in my car. And then I drove across Canada by myself, crying the whole way, smoking cigarettes and drinking Coke. Oh my God. Anywho, so, and here's another part of the story. So I was just so tired, right? Because I was driving by myself, and I would stop and I would sleep on the side of the road because I didn't have any money to stay in hotels. I just had money for basic little bit of food and gas. And I had to call ahead and get my dad to wire me some money anyways to get across. And I was so tired, and I saw these two people hitchhiking out of Regina. And I was like, oh my God. And it looked like a guy and a girl. So I was like, And I drove for like 5 kilometers, and I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to turn around and go pick them up, and we can drive together. And so when I stopped, I looked, it was 2 guys. I was like, oh my God. Ooh. And funny enough, they were going to Montreal, which was where I was going. And I was like, there is a Lord. And I basically gave these guys the keys to my car and passed out in the backseat. So Lord knows what could have happened. And I'm almost convinced that one of them had no idea how to drive a car, because I was passed out in the back seat and it was just like lurching forward. And I just remember getting up. I'm like, would you keep your foot on the goddamn gas? It was so funny. And then they asked me, they're like, do you like anything other than Blue Rodeo? So if you're born in the 80s or like 70s, and you know what I'm talking about, like, so I was crying all the way home, listening to Blue Rodeo, smoking cigarettes and drinking Coke. That's what, like, anyways, I hope you're laughing with me. All right. So there was a little story about my stuck in the 20 as a 25-year-old, and now I'm 51. But here's the thing. It's staying super healthy. And that was also the year that I promised myself that I would never let my health go. Or I was always put my health first. Because, you know, I came back and I'm like, cleaned myself up, got my job, started working in Ottawa, and that's where I am. I've been in this region since then. And yeah, it's just like, that's the story. And I started that job, and it was great. And I moved in with like 4 university students, which was not the smartest. Anyways, I got to get off the stories. If you like to hear stories, let me know. But so we're talking about tracking progress and starting the year. Now, I'm going to tell you something. When COVID started, there was 2 mindsets, right? You get busy and you make the most of it, or you keep worrying about not getting started and not making the most of it. And that's what I did. I started worrying about, oh my God, this is so much opportunity. There's so much time. I'm just going to end up wasting it. And what I ended up wasting it where other people were making thousands upon thousands of dollars in COVID. There's so many businesses that boomed at that time. You had to be creative, you had to be savvy, you had to be scrappy. And I spent the whole time being afraid of not using this time wisely. And I fucking didn't. Okay, so I just want to share with you that because I'm in that same mindset now that I hit my 50s, because I basically was telling myself when I hit my 50s, I'm going to work like hell because my husband and I have our plan that when we hit 60, we are going to retire. We're going to have this, we're going to work really hard for the next 10 years and we're going to have this big fund that we can do whatever we want, travel wherever we want. And I just I'm just sitting here again going, oh my gosh, I'm going to waste time. So that being said, there's all sorts of things we're going to track, right? Now, if you listen to my Friday, December 31st one, I talked about the steps of, getting into, starting your off right. And there was one thing that I said in there, and it was talking about a 4-quadrant square where you track your finances, your relationship, your health, and your relationship, your health, your money, family. Okay, so you grade yourself on all 4 of those things. And then you get to work and really work on the ones that you're lacking in, like you're below 5, right? So whether that's your career, your finance, your relationship, your family, your health, that's where you got busy. So tracking stuff, it can be anything. So, and I also shared that the realization of a couple things last year, or maybe I was just writing this down in my diary, but you should track on a journal. The fact that, I spent a ton of money. I spent way too much money on personal development last year. It was crazy. It was stupid. I didn't ask the right questions. I didn't do my research. I just said, I need to spend a lot of money because that's what people do, to get ahead. And that was the stupidest thing you could ever do. Take it from me, because now I got debt. And I haven't had debt in like friggin' 15 years. So it's bad. All right. But so there's that. And I'm also realized that an online business for me is not for me. I love working with people too much. I love the coaching aspect. And so therefore, am picking and actively looking at a franchise. a service type franchise in the cycling space. Yeah. Did you know there was one? So that is super scary. And yeah. And so this year, literally in the next 4 months, completely pushing myself out of my comfort zone, and I have to work like a dog. So I have to drop some things. And the podcast isn't one of them, thankfully, because I absolutely love doing this and sharing this stuff with you. But so that's what I'm up to, literally. And also there are some things that, last year I just spent so much time not with family, not organizing myself. I spent more time away from family because I was getting stuff done because I wasn't organized enough. So my husband is really, really good at this, is organizing his time and work and projects. And he's just amazing to watch. Anyways, just amazing to watch. So I'm trying to emulate him in getting away from social media, like spending time on social media where I don't need to be, and getting the things done that are going to bring in the money, right? Ask yourself, when you get on social media, if you have a business, like if you work for somebody else and you come home and you're chilling, but here's the thing, ask yourself, when you get on social media, is there something else that you could be doing that's going to improve your life? Like, is there that project that's sitting around that needs to be finished? Or maybe your children ask you to go play with them, or maybe you really do need to go play with your kids because they have kind of written you off. Have you felt like that? If you feel like that, that's a problem and you need to get off your phone. But there's also other things. I found this book in the dollar store, this gratitude journal. And if there's anything that I've ever learned is, I have various journals, that writing down your gratitudes is one of those keys to success. And this one, and everybody's, you always think like, I have to write all these really great things. But some, people just said, what are you grateful for? Are you grateful for your coffee? Are you grateful for your time? Are you grateful for a pair of socks you got on? So this one here, it's got, it's your reverse bucket list. That's kind of cool. And is a list of all your achievements and things that you've done. So a lot of people, we think of the things we've failed at, right? But rarely do we think about all and write down all the things that we have achieved. And when you start doing that, it's quite impressive because, people are asking me like, what have you done the last, write a little bio. And I'm like, I start writing. I'm like, oh God, I've done a lot of fun, good things, and I've helped a lot of people. So, and people in your life that you're grateful for. And, and then it talks about a vision board, which funny enough, I'm going to show you mine. Have you ever done a vision board? People think they're hokey, but, here's my vision board. So, you guys, you might want to flip over to YouTube to check this out. But so here's a franchise, and I've got the most stuff in here because that's my primary goal this year. That, and if you move over here, up here, my husband and I are actively looking at buying an income property or something that we can make passive income. Not passive income. That wouldn't be a passive income thing because it doesn't make money when you're not working, right? Network marketing is. But owning property is what we want to have. And then investment money, and then my fitness membership, and then the podcast up here. And then over here is health. So keeping myself hot and fit and hot. And then signing up for 2 events. So, it was one of those things where this summer, and maybe this is you, and you got a family, and as a family, we wanted to do different things. So this is where, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to do all this stuff. There's a gravel series. I'm going to do that. And then I'm like, you know what? I need to put that stuff aside this year. Because of COVID. COVID's preventing me from doing some of that stuff. And focus in on some family things that we need to do together. So it was a tough pill to swallow because I was like, yeah, because I want to do all these things. But also, this family stuff is a tad more important than me getting on a start line. I can train and keep myself super healthy. So that was one of the things that we kind of shifted, like we're going to be doing other things. And then that one, my mom's going to be moving closer here. So we've got to work on that too. So there's lots of things. And then of course you got to break them down, but these are things, and we did it with the kids. So if you have kids, grab a bunch of magazines because it'd be really surprising to know what they think and what they would like to do, right? What excites them. So did that gratitude vision board, and then January, it starts off, I'm a couple days late, but what are the 3 things that you're grateful for each day? And you know what? I can put 3 things down. So there's that. So getting off on that step. And now I did say we're going to talk about tracking and progress. So this is the new year, right? I'm fortunate that my new year, my birth year, starts at the same time as the new year. So really your new year is the next year, the next day after your birthday. Realistically, it's not January 1st. It's like your new year is when you turn a new age. And you should think about that instead of saving it for January 1st. But here are some things that, you should do to start tracking progress. Like if you're cycling, it's testing, obviously. So FTP test if you're on Swift, 3 minute race, or how far you can go in 3 minutes, or what was your FTP in 3 minutes or 3 kilometers, whatever. But pick something that you're going to test yourself on regularly. Number 2, and this is what I did, and I'm going to show you something right here. A little bit of an eye opener. I was like, why are my bike shorts a little tight? Well, Sylvie, it looks like April last year, your thighs were 1 inch smaller. So it's a little bit of an eye opener. You're like, oh yeah, 1.5 inches. Thighs are getting big. So that's a huge indicator right here. See, you guys? You see the numbers? Everything else is pretty relative. My weight is up by 2-3 pounds, and my thighs are bigger. And it's not muscle. Give me a break. You have to be really true to yourself. Like, take measurements. If you don't want to use the scale, scales are great. Don't weigh yourself every day. Use it as a tool, not as an obsession, like I mentioned before. So there you go. True results. So I'm expecting that, over the winter, if I'm getting in 6 hours of cycling a week plus 3 hours of strength training plus 2 hours or 1 hour yoga, things are going to change. My metabolism is going to increase. So I'm going to have to watch my food consumption because I'm going to be more hungry. But we'll see. We'll take measurements at the end of the training season. And so I highly recommend that you use measurements as a way to track your fitness and physique progress. Okay. Next thing is food tracking. If you have no idea how much you should be taking in, or you keep telling yourself you're healthy, start tracking it. I would challenge you that you are not as healthy as you think you are. You're probably under eating or maybe overeating, not getting enough protein, not getting, way too many carbs, too much sugar, things like that. You're never going to know until you track. Okay. Period. Now, so if you're working out a lot, you can't be depriving yourself of food. Okay. That's a no-no. Don't ever do that because you're going to end up injuring yourself, sick, malnourished, whatever. Those and things you don't want to get into. So track your food. If you're training like I'm training, I should be at least bringing in like 2,400 calories. And I know I'm not. And I'm not. And if I'm really truthful to myself, and you should be truthful to yourself, over the last couple months, I haven't been dipping into the flavored beer, eating a little bit more chocolate than I normally have. So whose fault is it? You just go up to the nearest mirror and point at it. Your fault. Okay? But this is the time to do something about it. Okay? Doesn't have to be drastic. Just have to start tracking and go, okay, I see what I'm doing. Like I need to bring more veggies in the house, whatever, prepare more meat, whatever. And then the last thing is feeling it. So let's just say my thighs are a little thicker. So I got a little bit more meat on my ass. And therefore my favorite jeans and the jeans that I use to measure these kind of things are a little tight. And can you wonder why? So it's feeling good in your clothes. And you just use those 4 things to track your progress. Because if you're looking to get faster, dropping that extra weight, feeling better, eating better is going to get you faster. So it all plays in this grand circle of life, of training life. So make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. Don't keep avoiding it and forgetting about it and not thinking about it and, avoiding it because it'll catch up to you. And if you ever want help with it, that's one way you can work with me is by coaching. You just message me and we can talk about what kind of packages I have and what it is exactly that you're looking to achieve. So with that, have you hey, shout me out on social media. It's my birthday. And remember, I will send something to you as a special thank you gift. And also my other birthday ask was that you go right to Apple Podcasts. The link is there if you're not listening to it, because I think that's the only place you can leave a review, and give me 5 stars and leave a review. So with that, have an amazing day. Have an amazing January. Let's just don't forget, this month is a month for events. I'm showcasing 8 events globally. And so check those out. Maybe one of them you might want to add to your calendar. So with that, have an amazing day. Thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate you as a loyal listener, and you have yourself an amazing day.